Hello, this video is about the Assyrian. Who is the Assyrian in the Bible? It's mentioned several times. Some people think it's talking about the Antichrist being coming from a place which was Assyria, which was Mesopotamia and northern part of Iraq going over to Syria, and at some stage it went even further into the Levant and even Egypt, I think. So anyway, this is where it talks about the Assyrian in the Bible. It says here, behold the land of the Chaldeans, or the Chaldeans, that's Mesopotamia. This people was not till the Assyrian founded it for them that dwell in the wilderness. They set up the towers thereof, they raised up the palaces thereof, and he brought it to ruin. So this towers is probably the ziggurats of Mesopotamia and palaces, and the Assyrian founded it. Now, I suspect that we're talking about Nimrod. It says here, and they shall waste the land of Assyria with the sword, and the land of Nimrod in the entrances thereof. Thus shall he deliver us from the Assyrian when he cometh into our land. What I think's going on is that because it's used several times, I'll show you another bit here. What does it say about that? Here it is. For thus says the Lord God, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. So the people, the Israelites, were in Egypt for a while, sojourn. The Assyrian oppressed them, so that's talking about the Egyptian Pharaoh, the Assyrian. It must be, because it was the Pharaoh who oppressed them. So the Assyrian isn't an ethnic identity. It's a tag used, and I think it goes back to Nimrod. Nimrod was the original Assyrian, and he was an unholy sort of person who is represented, who produces the archetype for the Assyrian, mentioned elsewhere throughout the Bible. So the Assyrian doesn't have to be ethnically from the land of Assyria. It could be anywhere. He could be from anywhere. So that's what I reckon about that. So a quick look at what Nimrod was up to. It says here, the son of Cush, the great grandson of Noah. Extra biblical traditions associate him with the Tower of Babel. Several Mesopotamian ruins are given Nimrod's name by the 8th century Arabs. Anyway, I did a table in the Bible code to see if I could find out about it. I did 2 tables. Here's the first one. There's the Axis term, the Assyrian, and then as usual I put in Obama's name to see if it comes up, and it's over here, starting there, the Aleph. Yeah, that's Obama. Running across Obama is Abracadabra, and then down here is Abracadabra again. So You've got Diaphi up here in the, I think that's Diaphi up there in the blue. I can't hardly see it because it's in green, but anyway. Hellenize is there a couple of times, which is here and here. So I was thinking before, maybe the Assyrian was Antiochus IV, because he was the ruler of Syria, and a major figure in the book of Daniel. And it could be Antiochus IV, but also it could be other people. If you look at the bit in Isaiah, it says, where does it say? That I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him underfoot. Some people think that's talking about the Antichrist, but I think perhaps that's talking about somebody related to what Isaiah was talking about here, perhaps associated with this in the same chapter. Look up that. I haven't looked it up, but it might be talking about somebody specific who was defeated in Israel at one time. So the second table I did, and another one in Genesis. Actually, yeah, Genesis. So that's the axis. So again, I look up the word Obama, and here he is again coming across here, and then this word Amorite twice. Yeah, starts there both times, goes backwards across there. Amorite. So the link is that the Amorites were a people from ancient Syria. So there's a linking here in these words with the Assyrian. Although the Assyrian could be anybody, it could be anybody that stands against the people of God. So in the Israelite times, that would have been somebody like Antiochus IV and other people, that were enemies of Israel. But in the Christian era, it could be anybody that's opposed to God, somebody after the archetype of Nimrod, and that there Obama is a candidate, I think. So just having a look at the book of Daniel here quickly. Here it says this bit starting at 36. I think this is talking about the son of perdition himself. It says, and the king shall do as he wills, he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god. Well, Antiochus IV didn't do that. He was a follower of the Greek pantheon. I can't remember which one it was specifically, but Hermes or somebody. And he shall speak astonishing things against the God of gods. So this character is against Yahweh of the Bible. And he shall prosper till the indignation is accomplished. It says here, he shall pay no attention to the gods of his fathers, or to the one beloved of women. That there, beloved of women, is Tammuz, because women in the Israelite period loved Tammuz, the consort of Seramaris, I think. Seramaris, the goddess. He shall not pay attention to any other god, for he shall magnify himself above all. It says here, he shall honour the god of fortresses, which is the kind of Luciferian god of force, of force. Instead of these, a God whom his fathers did not know, he shall honour with gold and silver. So that bit there, I think, is talking about the son of perdition. And then it's got a bit here which I think harks back to Antiochus IV. It's saying, at the time of the end, the king of the south, which is the Ptolemaic king of Egypt, shall attack him, but the king of the north, which is Antiochus, shall rush upon him like a whirlwind, chariots and horsemen and all that. But then down here, it's predicting stuff like here it said, this but news from the east and the north shall alarm him, and he shall go out with great fury to destroy and devote many to destruction. Thing is, in history, Antiochus went off somewhere. I can't remember where it was. I think it was Persia, where he expired. It says here, and he shall pitch his palatial tanks between the sea and the glorious holy mountain. Presumably that's Israel. Yet he shall come to his end with none to help him. So that's strictly not true, is it? Because Antiochus didn't end up doomed in Israel. So I think there's a bit of this. Most scholars believe that this was written during the time of the Maccabean revolt from 164 to 167 BC. And I've read through it a number of times, and I think most of this stuff was made up to look like prophecy in chapter 11. It's very, very, very detailed. I think they knew who the king of the south was, but they just put it in code to make it look like a prophecy. And they knew who the king of the north was and all this stuff. I think probably that at the time they didn't have the Israelites didn't have a tradition of writing history. They were religious scribes, so they probably framed it within a religious kind of prophetic way of doing it, whereas the Greeks were writing history at the same time. So I'm a bit cynical about this end bit of Daniel, I'm afraid. But that's everything. I've run out of time now.